and I programmed 7 songs on Michael Jackson's Thriller album. Today I'd like to show you how I programmed the sound at the very opening of Thriller, and there are 4 components to that sound. And when I say components, I mean part of the orchestration. There's the Pt.1 that plays that brass figure, the Pt.8 that adds to that brass figure and it makes kind of a resonant sound. There's a lower sound that was played on the synclavier that's called pipe organ on the track sheet, I believe, and it's kind of like that, but I'll break that down on another video, as I will the Pt.8. And then there's live brass on there. So together they make up the sound. So when you hear these components individually, you may think, well, that isn't it. But it's a component of what it is. And it's really important that not every sound is just super bright, because when you put it all together, some sounds have body, some sound, like the Prophet has body, the Pt.8 has resonance, the real brass has everything that real brass has, punch and human personality and brassiness, because it's like real brass tubes, and the synclavier supplies some sort of digital bottom to the sound. So we're going to start with the Pt.5 on this video, and I'm going to show you what's going on. I chose to use all like the waveforms available except the sine wave. So starting with oscillator 1, there's a sawtooth waveform and a pulse wave. So I'll let you hear what that pulse wave sounds like. I'm shutting off oscillator 2, which is called oscillator B on the Prophet. So you're just going to hear the sawtooth, and then you're just going to hear the square wave, which is a pulse wave. Here's a square wave. You hear how pure that is? So it's living around there. So it's slightly, just in terms of the duty cycle, to the right of square. So it's not so round. You get a little bit of pulse edge. And then oscillator 2 is an octave up, right? Octave, oscillator 1, oscillator 2, octave up. And oscillator 2 is the same deal. Sawtooth wave, pulse wave. And here's a square. Hear how square that is? Has a little more edge to it. Vintage synths. Touchy. So there's the pulse wave. So I add the sawtooth and the square, and I have equal volume. So now you hear a sawtooth and a square from oscillator A, or oscillator 1, and a sawtooth and a square from oscillator 2, oscillator B on the Prophet. Going to the filter, the cutoff frequency is at 0, and it's all basically coming from the envelope generator. So I'm modulating the filter with an envelope that has kind of a slow attack, medium kind of decay, a little bit of release time, a little bit of sustain, and pretty much no release time. So I'll demonstrate that for you. Here's the attack. You hear the hit on the sound? Well, it doesn't have that. So I'm giving a little bit of a brassy quality to it. Here's no attack time. Now I'm increasing the attack time about there. And then the decay is important, because you'll see what happens at the end. And then it goes to this sustain level. That's no sustain level. That's about that sustain level, so that there's something there after the initial sound blooms. And I have to set the envelope amount to get it right. The VCA is basically just a sustain, so it lets the sound pass. So here's my original sound. And the reason I'm holding is because on the record, it fades out. So that's why you need the release time. If I had no release time, we would get this. Not so full. Release time. And that's all there is to it. So I think you can make this sound on most synths that are designed to sound like analog synthesizers. You just need 2 oscillators in octaves, as much waveform, overtones as you can get. So I used a sawtooth waveform and a pulse wave from both oscillators. Go into the filter, there's no resonance. Modulate the filter with the envelope generator, like not too much attack, you know, just slow it down a little bit, but so that it's still playable. Some decay that goes to a release, to a sustain level that's kind of moderate, and no release time. So when you pick up your notes off the key, the sound stops. And the VCA just has a sustained voltage so that it opens up and you'll get. And then it fades out. That's the breakdown of the Prophet at the opening of Michael Jackson's Thriller. Thank you for following me on social media. I love synthesizers so much, so it's my pleasure to make these videos for you. If you'd like more of these videos, please like and subscribe on this channel.